So let's go over the basic parts and setup of a bucket milker. So the most important thing is to have your vacuum pump. Mine, I believe, is just a 1 horsepower vacuum pump. It has hookups to be able to milk 2 cows at once, but I just have 1 milking claw, so I milk 1 at a time. Okay, you always want to keep that with the right oil filled up at all times. And when you buy it from a reputable dairy dealer, they should make sure that you're set at the right vacuum level. Then we have a tube hookup from that to the bucket. This is a GEA Westfalia bucket milker. So you just got an average 5-gallon stainless steel bucket, and the vacuum goes into a hole in the lid that helps suction the lid on. The lid has a gasket running underneath it to help get suction. I'm not opening it up right now because it's all sanitized and ready for milking. On top of the lid is the pulsator. The pulsator, you don't want to ever get wet. You want to change the filter on it. Under this lid is a paper filter. I change it every 3 to 4 months. And the vacuum comes through the pulsator, and what that does is it will create, basically the vacuum makes suction, and the pulsator makes it like you're milking the cow. Kind of helps the inflations squeeze. Sorry, the cows keep making noise. That comes out in a pulsator hose. It's a double, so not all for milkers, not all for what's the name? Inflations will squeeze at once. So that comes, and then here's our milk hose. The milk hose is where the milk travels through to get into the bucket. And then we've got our claw here. 4 shells with inflations. The inflations are the rubber or silicone inside the metal shells here. And the pulsator hose comes on there, and it'll basically just make 2 out of 4 squeeze at opposing times. And then we've got this valve here. You can see if it's down, it makes space so milk or whatever you're sucking up can travel into the milk hose. And then you lock it up if you want to build vacuum before milking. So that's the basics of it all. So during milking time, you turn on the vacuum, and this is up to help the bucket get suction. And once it has suction maintained, when I'm about to put it on the cow, I let it go down like that. You can lock it down, but once you have the milker on the cow and there's suction through that, you don't have to lock it down. So I keep it like that and lock it up when I'm not milking. Okay, so before milking, before actually getting the milker going, you should always check your cows for mastitis. Check the milk, feel the milk as it's coming out, feel the quarters, make sure everything seems okay. My cows are basically always good. I never have problems. And then I use an iodine-based pre-dip. I would say iodine's the best way to go, but there are other bases that will sanitize a teat. It doesn't really matter. A lot of people use iodine though. This is, I think, 1%. All right, and just let it sit on the cow for 30 seconds at least. And then, because I'm only milking a few cows, I don't have enough laundry to do cloth towels, so I use paper towels. And I know this doesn't have to do with bucket milking, but just in case you're new to the idea of milking, you always want to sanitize first. You can also use ICMT test before I put milk in my tank, so I did that before I started this video because it's not necessary for somebody, you know, if they don't want to. And just make sure a clean piece of the towel is going on each teat so you're not re-wiping any dirty spots. And now we're ready to milk. So this is up. And can you hear the pulsator? You kind of hear a steady beat. That means there's suction. You want to try to keep the milk hose in a way that it keeps the milker on straight on the cow and isn't pulling one way or the other. So I do that by stepping the bucket up onto the chute with the cow, because my cows are calm enough that I trust them, and I stay right here. So if they do kick anything off, I grab it right away. Sorry for the loud noise, it's noisy. Okay, then I use the same dip because mine's a pre-post dip, and put it on the teats one last time, and she's gonna have it just dry on there. It helps keep them clean while the teat ends are still closing up. And that is milking with a bucket milker. Right when you turn the pump off, there's still some suction holding the lid on there, so you can release the suction by just doing that and then close it up again. And now I am going to keep the lid on but unhook this hose and carry this in to my milk house and dump this milk in the tank.